All right, everybody, welcome back to the Blake's Tin Man podcast. Today we have a very special guest, Blake's younger brother, Jackson Thomas.
Yes. I'm very happy to be here with my dad. I was very, very excited. I actually had brought it up to him that, I would love to be on the podcast. I would love to sit here and talk with my dad, someone who's very special to me. My dad and I, we've always had like a connection. We always have. It's always something I would look forward to when I would be able to come and see you on the weekends. And today, I got a feeling that I haven't had in quite some time. Actually, like almost back to like elementary. Well, obviously today's Friday. And it was almost like a feeling like we're like, it's like a Friday going into like a warm weekend, but like maybe it's like an early release or,
Like back in the day.
Yeah, like a back in the day, and it's like a day where like Friday, like where it's like gonna rain and it's like outside, it's like cloudy, but like, it was like at work, it was like a yellow outside. It was like a dark yellow and everything was going so smooth. Everything was going like so laid back and casual. And it was like the end of like a good week. The week flew by, but it was also like a very special feeling because back in the day, like I would have those feelings every now and then when I would be able to like come and see you, especially when you would be coming to pick me up, driving like a couple hours to come and get me. And I would just be so excited. I would be excited to see Blake. I would be excited to, go up to the cabin. And then like it would be all I would be thinking about all day. So that's kind of how I felt today. Like it's going to be such a good weekend, it's going to be such a good night. And my dad, it's a special thing. And it was a good feeling today.
Yeah.
So
nostalgic.
It was nostalgic. Yeah. Well, it was like a new feeling because I mean, for those that don't know, I've been in, recovery, for the last 4 months here. Next month, actually, June 17th, I will have 5 months sober, which is a huge accomplishment for me. It's also important that I recognize that it is 5 months, therefore I'm early in recovery still. I am new to this whole sober thing. I haven't been 5 months sober since like 12 or 13, so like that lifestyle is all I really knew for years. So, and it just got bad and everything happened the way it needed to, absolutely. So I could be content like I am or I have been for the last couple months. But again, it's important that I recognize that it's still early and that 5 months is, yes, an accomplishment, something to be proud of, but it's also like I need to be able to keep doing what I've been doing and recognize that it still hasn't been that long. There is still stuff that I'm working through. I still don't know myself, as much as I'd like to, because I mean, like every day I'm doing something like deeper and deeper to like get to know myself. Kind of like, I don't know, I guess I'm a little anxious sitting here right now, but I guess that's just because I'm passionate about, the way I feel and what I think. But yeah, I just want to like keep doing better. And like what I have now and what like the relationships that have been rebuilt, that are being rebuilt as we speak. Like right now, it's important that I keep working so I can keep what I have, so I can move forward and make new relationships with new people and just grow upon this foundation that has been set. And yeah, so.
Well, I just want to say how incredibly proud I am of you. And like you say that you feel like you might not know yourself right now, but when you were born, and like when you were growing up and like learning to walk and talk, and you're smiling, and like when you can ask any one of your grandparents or great grandparents, like you've always been like the biggest softie in the family, the kindest heart, like always thinking of others, but just like this warmness to you. And there really is nothing other than that. Like, to me, that is who you are. That is the essence of you. And you've always been that. And I'm so proud of you because of what you've done to dedicate yourself to improvement to your health in the last several months. And you've always been willing to learn new things. You've always wanted to do better. You've always wanted to feel better. You've always wanted to improve. And you've always been very coachable. And what I was looking so forward to today, I know you mean like that feeling today, like to me, I haven't like drove to go pick you up to hang out for the weekend in a really long time when you've been like at a point where you are now, like so healthy. And like you look really good. You sound good. You're doing amazing things.
Thank you.
And there's really no, for me anyway, there's no who is Jackson. I've always known. You know, and for you or for anyone for that matter to like really know yourself, it's kind of like saying, like, it's like trying to kiss your own lips or bite your own teeth.
What do you mean by that?
Well, if you look in a mirror, are you really not seeing your eyes?
Right.
You're seeing a reflection of them. And it's really impossible, I think, or it can be impossible to really know oneself because that's all you are. So it's like right. It's like trying to touch the tip of your finger with the tip of your finger. Careful there. I actually kind of was just getting a little bit excited as you were saying something like that because, well, as you were saying that, because last night even, like, and I had these thoughts, you know, when I go through that nightly routine. Which is what?
Which is my nightly routine for the last 4 or 5 months here, has been, you know, I go into the bathroom, usually I'm in my pajamas by then, and I brush my teeth, and then I floss, and then I splash my face 10 times with hot water. It's funny because every night I feel like I'm messing with the faucet, trying to get it as hot as I can, but yet still like okay to where like it doesn't hurt, you know. And every night I'm like, oh, that's perfect, you know. And the night after I'm like, oh, that's even better, you know. Oh, it was too cold, but I'm in a rush now. I gotta go to bed. It's late. But then after I'm done splashing my face 10 times with the hot water, I just quick take a towel and wipe off my face, and then I turn the faucet all the way to the right, and it's the cold water, and then I do that 13 times. I splash my face 13 times with the cold water, which actually feels really good, especially after like a long day, like whether like you're working or talking with a bunch of people. Like socialization sometimes can be exhausting. It really can, because I feel like that constant talking with people, figuring out what you're gonna say, like it can be too much. Not too much, but a lot, you know. And so those moments alone that I have to like just sit by myself, like over the last couple of months, has given me that opportunity to like to get to know myself. And sometimes I do consider myself lonely, but I've been able to like find somewhat of a friend in myself, you know. And then as you were talking, like when I do look in that mirror in that nightly routine, I do think of that. Like last night I was thinking of other people's faces. Like when you're looking in the mirror with someone else, sometimes they look crooked, but when you're looking at them like face to face, not a reflection, they don't look crooked, you know. Well,
have you ever seen the that show on face blindness? Or on like just on faces in general? If you cut somebody's face down the middle, and then if you take the mirror image of their other half of their face and put it together, a lot of times it looks like a different person.
Oh, really?
The one half of our face is usually very different from the other half of our face. So what we think we look like, because we look in mirrors, is what other people see is different. It's changed a little bit with phones now, because there's a lot of times when I think if I record a video on my phone, I think it's backwards. So it
like the on the front camera, like the one that like is facing.
Yeah, so it's like what I see in the mirror. But if you don't have a phone that's doing that, then I mean, do you ever notice that? Like when you take a picture, it's like you're like, oh, I don't think I look like that. Well, it's backwards from what you're used to seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's these things where they take someone's face and split it in half, and they'll take the person's left half of their face and then take a mirror image and put it together, and then someone's right half of their face and take the mirror image and put those together, and then put those two complete pictures together, and they look very different.
Yeah. Wow.
Because that's kind of a big rant on how our faces are different on either side. But
it's funny because as I was sitting down, I was like, okay, good. Like this camera's on my good side.
You think you have a good side?
I do think I have a good side. That is because I guess when you look at my face straight on, I have a mole on my cheek, and then I have a mole on my chin.
So you think that's your bad side because you have moles?
Not necessarily my bad side. Actually, I will say that I have come to see the beauty in that side of the face. But I do like the clear face too. I do. And it's 'cause people, like, when they look in the mirror, I feel like maybe even I'm guilty of this. Either way, I guess. They build this image of what they think they look like, and some people look in the mirror and they think, oh, I look so good. And then they go out in public and, maybe other people are looking at them and not thinking that, or maybe they look in the mirror and they think they don't look good. But when other people are looking at them, they look beautiful.
Imagine what life was like before mirrors.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you needed every once in a while in a perfectly still pond, you would catch a sort of a wavy glimpse of what you look like.
Yeah.
But other than that, how would you know?
Right. Or yeah. I will say though that I am very, I don't know, maybe I'm just trying to talk to fill time. I don't really need to do that, but I mean, I was just kind of having a thought of how I feel right now and how I felt the last, weeks, months,
Say it.
even the last 5 minutes. I just I feel really good, really good. Oh my God. I feel really content with who I am, and and I know I kind of started this out by saying I don't really know myself, but that's the goal of knowing myself. I don't think that's ever something that's accomplished or fully done. It's something that's learning something new about myself every day.
Oh yeah, that question of who am I is
yeah.
I mean that's just
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, there's a lot of.
I mean, that's the biggest question,
yeah,
right? Or the deepest question.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of questions that I ask myself about myself and about the world, and then I have asked myself a lot. Whether that be in active use or in my early teen years when it was just all these big, deep questions. And as I've approached the end of 21 now, I'm just okay, I have a lot of questions, but maybe I don't need to be looking for all these answers.
It's the other thing that came to mind when you were saying how I forgot what made me think of it, but don't take this the wrong way, but I mean, Jackson, you're a baby, right?
Yeah, I'm young. I'm young.
You're still just so young, which is such a gift, right?
It's a gift, yes.
I mean, so you have
it's also a privilege. It's also a privilege that I've made it this far into 21. It's a privilege that a lot of other people, unfortunately, have not gotten to experience. And my birthday is 31 days away, as of today, and it's just absolutely every day I'm okay, I'm alive. not like, okay, I'm alive. I'm like, I'm alive. Like, oh my, like, you know what I mean? Like it's a whole new day to be better than I was the day before. It's a whole new day to make these new connections, to learn something new, to laugh. And speaking of laugh, I sometimes think of people, or like people's interactions with me in the past, like certain situations, or maybe even just the day before, whatever. And I guess what I'm trying to get at here is lately I've been thinking of people's laughs, and just thinking of their laughs, not even really what was said to make them laugh, like just makes me laugh thinking
Yeah.
of their laugh. And one today, even yesterday, was like yours, just because like your laugh, it used to kind of, and still kind of is sometimes, my goal to make you laugh, like just because it's like a contagious laughter, and it's a laughter that I'm happy that I get to hear.
I bet you won't be able to make me laugh today.
Yeah, probably not. I don't know.
You're funny. You make me laugh all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've always been a witty kid, like sharp. I think that sort of shows that you're smart, and yeah, and just snappy. Like I've laughed a lot with you.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna ask you. Blake was funny, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
Do you remember? Like, do you have a favorite funny moment with Blake?
Yeah, I do. I think about it every now and then. Jack probably remembers this too.
I think I know the story. But I don't think I was there.
And there's a lot actually with Blake.
Let's hear some.
So this was a while ago, a really long time ago actually. I was probably like 12. And Blake and I were sitting on the two chairs with that little like dresser and the lamp at the cabin,
Mm-hmm.
And Jack was standing on the couch, but his like hands and he was looking out the window. He was on like the top of the couch. And Blake and I were like looking down at our iPods or something, and all of a sudden we hear like and then and it's Jack's face sliding down the window. And Blake and I looked at each other and we just started laughing so hard, and it was hilarious. Jack was obviously crying.
Like that squeaky
Yeah,
sound.
it was Jack's face just it was pretty funny. Yeah, but Blake, he was a unique character. He was a really good human being. And I actually dream about him pretty frequently. And there was just a lot of moments that him and I had shared that were special, He's just like, to be real, he like obviously other people played into this too, but like he's a big reason like I am who I am. I will say that. And like he taught me how to like drive an ATV, or like little pointers on how to fish, or like how to start a fire. Every time I find the pizza cardboard, and I fan it just like Blake did. And yeah, just little tips like that. And
You guys were close.
yeah. And sometimes I feel a little bit guilty that we weren't closer in like the last couple months of his life. This is something that I like, seriously, when Blake passed away, that was 5 years ago, and I didn't process it for up until a couple months ago, because that whole time, pretty much after he died, like I was always chasing something or whatever, and then I finally got time to like sit with it.
Coping or suppressing.
Yeah, and now I got this time to like have like be clear-minded about it, I guess, and like one day I just broke down crying, like sobbing.
In the last couple months.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't really know what I was getting at here, but it's just
Grieving
yeah,
Blake.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of us ever will. It's not
Well,
like
right.
you get like, oh, I'm done with that, right?
Yeah, and I guess part of me, the reason like I didn't like face it head on right away or like put myself in a state to be like clear minded to deal with it is because I kind of did feel guilty. That's what I was getting at. Like, and you notice how like I subconsciously kind of like tried to like move on from that, or like I tried to like move on from that to like hide it, like not hide it, but like because I still kind of bury it. One of the last conversations we had, I had just gotten out of the mental hospital, I think, or around that time
In October.
of 2020. Yep, my first actual inpatient was at Willow Creek. I think we remember how that went down just a little bit. But I was like 16, 17. And man, at that age, like I feel I was really obsessed with like death. And I was obsessed with death, and I was obsessed with love, and I was obsessed with all these powerful things that I don't even understand right now. And I don't know if human beings really ever fully are able to understand it. And I remember I was making tea, and I got a call from Blake, and it was like one of those things where like something happens, and then something else happens, and then like it's like just all this stuff is going on at once, and then I get a call from Blake, and I answer it.
You were in Willow Creek?
I was at my house after I'd gotten out of. I was at my mom's house, and I was like pouring the tea and talking to him, and I think he was out, and he was asking me, he was like, "Are you out drinking?" It's like, "No, I'm not out drinking. I'm drinking tea." He's like, "Oh, you're lying," and then he just went on to say all these other things, and he was like kind of like asking me like what do I do? Like, he doesn't understand. He didn't understand a lot of things. He was struggling, and I could tell he was struggling, and that I didn't know how to respond to that, unfortunately.
I remember the call. You framed it as like he was checking up on you.
He was like checking up on me, and then like he was asking me if I was okay, type of thing. And then we were kind of discussing like what was going on in like family dynamic and like life with him. And he was like telling me that there was a lot of things that he didn't quite understand. And like I feel like my response to that was kind of like to brush it off. Like I didn't really know what to say.
You were both going through a lot at the same time.
A lot, yeah.
Yours was more obvious.
Yeah.
His was very hidden and buried.
Yeah.
He would tell me all the time. He's like, "Dad, Shaylin's anxiety is bad. It's really bad." And I look back, and he was telling me how bad his anxiety was, and I didn't even see it.
Yeah. Just, I don't think as human beings we actually answer that question honestly sometimes. And the question is, how are you? A lot of people just say, "I'm good," or "I'm fine," or
I hate that. I don't hate that question, but I hate the fact that is what everyone says. "Hey, how are you?" Yeah. Wait, don't ask me that question. And I'm not going to ask you unless we're going to sit down and really take the time to answer it honestly.
Yes.
"Hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? Hey,
But think if someone brought this to my attention a while ago. Like if everybody just answered that question honestly, it would kind of be a shit show. It kind of would.
Fucking terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, like this and that happened. Like it would be a lot.
Or like at the grocery store, "How you doing?" "I'm fine. I'm okay." Well, okay. I wish you were good. You want to explain why you're not?
Well, how do you respond to that? How do you respond to that when someone says, "I'm fine"? How do you respond to that when someone says, "I'm okay"? Are you gonna ask them, why are you just okay, or do you feel like you need to kind of give them space when they say they are just okay? Like it's a difficult thing to respond to.
It's just a habit. We all do it and say it.
Yeah, and I'm guilty of it every day. So, yeah, I do. I don't know what I'm really trying to say. I guess I'm like,
Eastern cultures, they don't ask that question.
What do they ask?
I don't really know what they asked, but when I was doing some research on like business dealings with Chinese,
Mm-hmm.
and they were saying that don't ask how someone's doing unless you're
Right.
going to take the time to really sit down and listen.
Yeah.
Or if the situation in the moment presents even an opportunity to do so, like, hi, nice to see you.
Yeah. That actually is a really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it always is nice. I actually say that to the same guy. At every time I see him, I said, "Hey, it's nice to see you, Ron." He's like, "Good to be seen."
Yeah.
Every time he said, "It's good to be seen." Like,
I know.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah. A lot of people say that, and it is.
Yeah.
It just means you're alive.
Yeah.
Nick Idy, you know Nick Idy, don't you?
Yeah.
Idaho's
Yeah.
little brother.
Yeah.
He had said that to me, I don't know, like 3 times in a row, and it said it in the grocery store one time, like yelling across the produce department. Hey, Nick, I said, good to see you. And he goes, good to be seen. I said, it's kind of an asshole thing to say.
He said that
good to see you.
Yeah. That's funny.
We were constantly joking
Yeah.
when we see each other, but
Going back to that, like, I guess, that just how people communicate. I'm actually been guilty of it, like a lot of the show already.
what?
Just constantly like spewing out just words to fill space, and like instead of doing that, maybe sometimes it's best to just like not say anything and to either like listen or like just take it in for a moment and only say something when it's really, important or worth, something that, yeah, I struggled with this for a while. Like, just, it was like me sitting down in like a group and listening to people and like their side conversations or like what they were talking about. And it was just, to me, for a long time, it seemed like a constant spewing of bullshit. I'm like, okay, like this is just a bunch of bullshit. Like, you guys are talking about like the past and like this girl or like this guy and what he was saying and how it was so fucked up. Like, I don't want to hear that. Like I want to hear like was again, I shouldn't be thinking of what I want to hear from other people or expecting to hear something from certain people or people in general, because a lot of the time I'm going to be disappointed if I'm expecting to hear something.
Well, you've always been a deep conversation type guy, and so maybe sometimes the surface level stuff is just annoying to, but I mean,
it's also good too. It can be embraced sometimes.
There's so many different types of conversations, but then there's a lot of people who just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, and then they really don't
say anything.
Well, or they just listen to respond instead of listen to understand.
Yeah.
And then it's always like, I have a story to top that or match that or that's similar to that. So instead of like acknowledging your story, I'm just gonna tell you a story that's similar to the one you just told.
Yeah, but it's always the one story that they're telling is always a little bit better than yours. And like you can kind of tell when that's going on, like just based on like the body language of that person that you're sharing with. Like the whole time that you are sharing, they are just thinking about what they're gonna say next as you're speaking, as they're hearing certain words come out of your mouth. Like, I'll be having a conversation with someone and mention something that's really like important, or to me at least, and like it's deep about the way I'm feeling or about a certain situation, and they'll hear like 1 or 2 words, but they'll say like the completely opposite thing just with the 1 or 2 words that they heard. It's like hearing what you want to hear, or like hearing like, yeah, just to respond with something to make you look a certain way. Like, yeah.
I learned something pretty interesting from my friend Brady about communication. And it's like, what was it?
Was it the pie chart?
Yeah.
Yes.
And so it's like about how 80% of it is body language.
Yes.
And
facial expression, and
15% is tone. And then 5%, I don't know if I did my math right, is words.
Yeah.
So then
a really small amount is words.
So like equate it to a text conversation. Emojis have changed the game a little bit because emojis are kind of like tone of voice or body language in a sense if you use them right. But if you're just sending text, then all that body language and all that tone of voice is to be interpreted.
It's hard
or assumed. So it's hard to really understand what that person's saying.
And what really makes that hard is the period. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm gonna be so honest here. Like when someone says something like that and they end it with a period, that has come to be like something where I'm like, okay, well, why did they just end it with a period? Like I'm like, why did they? What do they mean? Like, it's
Well,
like,
you're,
and then
you're reading into the period.
it's not like I'm reading into the period. It's almost like sometimes people put that period in there to like emphasize that A, they don't want to talk. B, they're going through something. There's more to be said. I don't know. Like, so maybe I am reading too much into the period, but I feel like this is something that a lot of people do.
Well, assumptions are okay. Back to the 4 agreements.
Yeah, sorry.
Don't make assumptions.
Okay.
But that's I don't know which one of the 4 agreements is the hardest to live by, but that might be one of them. To not make assumptions because it's just so in our nature.
Yeah.
But with text messages, there's so many assumptions that go like here, for example, if I respond, sounds good.
Period.
You could hear, oh, well, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Or sounds good.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or yeah.
Yeah.
Is it sarcastic? Is it whatever? So anyway, back to the discussion of communication, body language, tone of voice, and words. Mm-hmm. But then there's also pauses. Like Alan Watts talks about this all the time, that music isn't as much the sound as it is the space in between the sound, the silence in between the sounds. And so in a conversation, silence is okay. In fact, it says sometimes more than the words. And breath is a language itself. Like if we're having a conversation and you ask me a question and I respond like this, what does that mean?
It shows to me that you're thinking about the question and you're not thinking, but you're really like in depth feeling out what the question was and how you feel about what I had asked, and that you're like, honestly, I like that breath sometimes. Also, the breaths after a question sometimes can be kind of like, oh shit. But even when I have those moments where I'm like, oh shit, and like the person shows me that they were just thinking about what I had said really seriously. They're taking what I had said and asked seriously, and they respond with their heart, not just their head, not spewing out of BS. Mm-hmm. Eye contact too. Eye contact is something that I notice is a huge form of conversation. Absolutely.
A lot of people struggle with it.
Yeah, and I notice like as I've been out of the U.S. I mean, can't really say that because I've been to the U.S. territory where I really started to experience this. The first time was Puerto Rico. But everybody, like a lot of people that I talk to, like they really, as the whole time you were talking, they were looking in your eyes and they were talking the whole time. They were maintaining that eye contact. And in the U.S., well, like just every day, I guess.
Mainland.
Yeah, mainland. Like we kind of like talk, but like we're looking and like even like it's not like a still like eye contact. Like there is like a movement of eyes, and it can also be a tough thing because like when you're making eye contact, like what do you look at? Do you look at the person's mouth? Do you look at the person's nose? Do you look?
Benjamin Franklin said, when you speak to somebody, look in their eyes, and when you listen to someone, look at their mouth.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do that, but then I get, if I stare at the eyes too much, sometimes I get lost in the eyes and get thinking about eyes. And then if I look at their mouth, I'm thinking about, so sometimes when I'm talking to somebody, especially if I'm really thinking or like working through a thought process, I will absolutely feel like I have to look around a little bit.
Yeah.
And like always reconnect at the eyes a little bit, every now and then. But just like staring at somebody in their eyes and not taking your eyes off.
It was something that it took time for me to get used to at first. But then like as I kind of grew into it or got used to it, it was like, holy, like this is like real, like it's felt. And there's a lot that can be said with eyes, I think.
Have you ever done an eye gaze? Like
in the mirror?
No, with someone else.
Oh.
Like a 2 or 5 or 10 minute eye gaze?
Yeah.
You have?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I know. So
I mean, with intention. The intention
with
was to sit
intention,
down.
not really.
Okay.
Just kind of, I guess, for like fun or like, I don't know.
Like staring contest,
Yeah,
a good old fashioned staring contest.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they say the okay. So pick one eye to look at, and I'm gonna pick one eye to look at, and I'm gonna use both of my eyes to look at your left eye. Okay.
Oh yeah, that gets weird. That gets weird real fast. And no, it just gets weird as in like I feel like when I'm looking into someone's eyes, like all of a sudden like everything around like in their face, like it just starts to look different.
Or they melt away and all of a sudden they're gone. You ever have experienced that?
Yes.
That happens to me a lot. If I'm staring at someone in their eyes and like locked in conversation, all of a sudden it's like they disappear. It's really weird. Like they're invisible. And then I see their eyes. But the iris, the colored part of your eye, is said to be your personality. And the pupil, the darkness, that's divine. And so if you try this, stare at my eye, I'm staring at your eye. It's kind of trippy, isn't it?
It definitely is.
See into someone's soul.
Yeah. It's definitely something that I don't think I do as much as I'd like to. Just with human beings, you know, I'm always like looking around kind of. If it's a girl, you know, maybe looking, I don't know. Looking
somewhere where you maybe shouldn't.
Yeah. I mean, whatever. But
eyes up here.
Yeah,
Jackson.
type of thing. Yeah. Yeah. You know, I actually went to Walmart not that long ago. I was with a younger guy who was in recovery. He's 19. He was in treatment for some pretty hefty things, just heavy substance use, and he saw a lot of stuff. He was there on like a drug court. A lot of people that are in Exodus are there on a drug court. And every Thursday, the guys in the house, they go to Walmart. There's this guy named Brian who takes the guys to Walmart. That's how he talks. You know, you don't sign out, you're not going to Walmart. That's how he sounds. And we all kind of make fun of him. Like, I don't know. I'm like, we were kind of making fun, like saying things in his voice. Like,
does he know you're mocking him?
Well, he can't hear us because we're not doing it in front of him. Oh. But, you know, and sometimes we say it in front of his face. But we were saying like really, you know, appropriate things in his voice. And anyways, we went to Walmart one day, and Tony and I were just walking through the aisles, and there's this girl, and she was about our age, and she was in front of us in the aisle, and I was looking at her butt, and then she turned around, and I think she saw me looking, and I like looked away, but Tony, the guy I was with, just kept looking, and it just got weird. I don't know, like sometimes I get not really often, but I got caught looking. Sometimes that happens.
I mean, she was probably flattered.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can't imagine why.
I don't know. There's also another thing, like, I don't know.
Why are you wearing yoga pants if you don't want? I mean, it's like, okay, think about
they're comfy.
The way that like women used to dress, like traditional, or like Amish women, or the Muslim traditional dress.
Okay.
It's to cover up the body.
Yeah.
And so you don't really see all the curves and the features.
Yeah.
But then you look at the way a lot of women walk around dressed today, and there's no question as to what their entire body shape is. Right.
There isn't a lot of room left for imagination. That's true. And it really is. And that's also something that's been embraced, I think. Like,
the beautiful body, no matter what your shape is, right?
And like wear whatever you want, wear what's comfy, you know, type of thing.
Yeah.
So,
but it's also as a male, if you're attracted to the opposite sex, and those types of clothing are right in front of you in the checkout line,
it can be difficult.
Well, isn't it? I mean, it's just nature.
Yeah, ultimately though, I think if you're a girl and you're doing and you're wearing clothes that are making you feel confident and that are making you have a better view of what your body looks like and how you feel about yourself and you and your own skin, wear whatever you want.
Yeah.
You know,
I-
who gives a fuck what other people are going to say? Like, I don't mean to use that language, but who really cares about what other people are going to say? You know, seriously, wear what you like to wear, you
Yeah.
know, definitely.
Yeah.
But also, like, I don't know. Also, like, you're going to church, you know, don't wear like a swimsuit or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, if you're going to walk around looking naked, like, don't be surprised if people look.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Be aware that you dress that way because you like the way you made you feel. So don't let anybody else affect the way you feel about yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I like your hat.
thank you. I really like this hat. I actually noticed it. It was the first thing I noticed
Do you think,
when I walked in the office.
you know, I had that thought when we were coming over here.
What's that?
I wondered if you were going to notice that hat, and I was going to wonder if you were going to comment about it. And I knew I was going to offer you one if you wanted it, because I have 9 more. You're the third person who has asked for one.
Okay.
I love it.
I absolutely love it. I was telling you, like, can't believe this hasn't been on a hat before. Like,
It's a hat now.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
You know, I meant to order it to match this one.
Yeah.
Am I wearing the Blake's one? Yeah.
Yeah.
Green with yellow.
Yeah.
Because I like the colors.
Mm-hmm.
And I accidentally ordered the black ones.
Mm-hmm.
But now I like them.
Yeah. Yeah, you can never go wrong with black and white.
I forgot what this company's called. When the hats are delivered, they're like really smashed.
What?
And they're all deformed. And I was disappointed. And I made a comment to the company about it. But then over time, they like regain their original form.
Yeah.
And you choose your font, you choose your color, and you choose the text. It's pretty cool. A puff hat or something like that.
Yeah, and they're really comfortable.
Puffy. Yeah.
I like them.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I got them wet, it would dry quickly.
Yeah.
You know, I've been wearing hats a lot. I have like 2 hats that I wear pretty much every day. The one hat I wear every day is just my blue camp hat. Every day I wear that.
Is this going to be a go-to?
This is going to be a go-to for sure. Yeah. I guess kind of on what we were talking about before on like conversation and the constant spewing, like how I felt about that at least. You know, when we are given moments alone, a lot of the time there is silence. I mean, so you can choose to either fill that silence with like music in your ears, with headphones, which I like to do a lot of the time, or just the sound of a pen hitting the paper or pages turning in a book or whatever. I guess what I'm trying to say is I've been writing a lot.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah.
So like one of the things that our multiple holistic health coaches in this foundations network
Yes.
offers advice is to journal, to write down. And it's not just a thing for women. It's anybody should journal, like in the mornings or in the evenings or whenever. But you've always been a writer. You've always been a journal. You often like to share what you write. I know you write poetry, you write music, you write just your thoughts. You write in the mornings, you write in the evenings, you write when you're struggling. How has writing or journaling helped you in your mental health journey?
My mental health journey. Wow. I really like that question because there's a whole lot I can answer that with. Writing has given me this space. It's given me this tool to like take a tough situation or like a tough thought or series of thoughts and allow myself not to just avoid them, but to fully dive in to them. And then to look back, just like a sentence, like look back a sentence and read that and have the option to scribble it out or go off of it. And what I've found through my mental health journey specifically is that there has been a lot of tough shit that I've written about. And a lot of that tough shit that I've written about isn't around anymore, because what I have done with those tough situations and those tough experiences that I was going through, like shortly after I had written them and either read them or whatever, is I burned them. You know, sometimes I'm like, oh no, why did I burn that? You know, because seriously, like I would have liked to go back and to look just to see how my life was back then, or not back then, but just how I grew from it. I also felt like it was freeing to burn it, knowing that no one's ever going to read it, just me, and that's between me and myself. So, but writing, like, there's anything you can do. There's so much that can be done with a pen and paper. It can be drawing, it can be journaling, and it could be creative writing of any kind. It can be, I don't know what this is called, but like just scribbling on a piece of paper and like filling in like certain lines that maybe connect, or drawing like eye, or like whatever, like
neuro art.
Yeah, neuro art. I've been fortunate. I really have been fortunate to have been a writer, and been like, reading was something that I was always around. I was always around reading. Grandma Sue, she's a big reader, and then my grandma Molly, who lived to be 95, she read over, probably a good 1,000, over, I don't even know. She read thousands of books in her lifetime for sure. Always reading. Every time I'd walk in. Yeah. I don't know.
Whatever. We're still fine.
Yeah.
Our color's a little different.
All right. Yeah. But she read a lot. She gave me books a lot.
Do you read a lot?
I don't read that much.
You like to write?
I write.
So when you feel like if you say you write something down and burn it, you feel like it's like sucking these thoughts, sort of organizing them down on the paper, and it's different than typing into a phone.
Yeah.
Is it not?
I've typed into phones a lot too.
Is it something with the pen stroke on the paper?
Yes, that is something, like, especially a good pen. And you heard it in my entry.
I know.
From Wednesday, like, I almost kind of wish I brought my notebook with me, but that's okay.
So I have 300 of these, and I'll give you one, but I don't know if you're gonna like it, because it's a ballpoint.
Is it scratchy or is it smooth?
It's smooth, but
Does it catch ever?
Jeremy in the office is a pen snob.
Oh yeah.
And I bought 300 of these, and then like a couple weeks later, I saw a bunch of pens get delivered, like Amazon pens, and I'm like, Jeremy, what's wrong with the Blake's Tin Man pens? And he's like, sorry, I really like my gel tips.
Yeah,
do you like the gel tips?
I agree with Jeremy on that one, because I have these Sharpie ballpoint gel tips or something like that. I don't even know what it's called. It's like a Sharpie S gel or something, and they come in like blue, red, black, and they are like the smoothest, like 0.7 pen that I've had.
Well, here's what we'll do.
Yeah.
On behalf of Jeremy, we'll steal one from him, and I know he'll be cool with it, because he would love to contribute to your journaling. Yeah. And I think I know where he keeps his stash of gel pens. So I know he just got 20 of them. So he won't miss it.
Yeah.
He'd love for you to have it, but I also want you to have one of these. Okay.
Yeah, I would love to. Yeah. I actually really like the way this pen clicks. That's a big part of it too. Is the way the pen clicks.
And this is the back end of this is like you can use it, like, it writes on your phone.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
If you wanted. So how are we doing on? Almost been on an hour.
Okay. Yeah. So I started writing for real, I would say.
You were 16?
When I was like 16, and I really started to get into it, writing letters, and then I was just writing all the time.
So you went on quite the journey since then. Like when you were 16, I saw you shared openly. I didn't steal your diary and read it. Right. You shared openly, and I was worried. Oh,
there was a lot of shit in there, I'm sure, that I shared.
But I was also glad that you were writing.
Right.
And then we went on such a You've done such a 180. You've gone on such a transformation since then.
Yes.
So let's leave the listeners with a statement of where, not what you've been through, but where you are at now.
Okay.
And then I'll share that with
where I'm at now, specifically, like anything, or just my life, or
yeah. I mean, just however you want to answer that question.
Where I'm at now, I'll start answering with my writing. Where I'm at now, I've seen such a shift and such a change, and I think I can give a lot of credit to this change because of because that first journal that I had, that black one, I started it, the first 3 pages in that black journal are me in the end of my active use, and the entry times were like 1 a.m., 3 a.m., 5:55 a.m., and then, or like 5, whatever, and then like 7 a.m., and then like all these times, like, and it was all like the same day, and my handwriting was sloppy, and I was like negative, but like still kind of trying to be positive, and it was all over the place, it was so good that I was writing, but like since I started like writing then, I had the idea, like after that first 3 pages, when I was like the day before going into that 90-day treatment, to just write and not look back, to just go and not ever flip back a page and just fill that 250 pages, as best as I could on my own time when it was comfortable for me. And then at the end of that first journal on March 19th, so it was like January 8th through March 19th, I gave myself the opportunity to go back and look at the first 3 pages from the end of my active addiction into the first 30 days, the first 60 days, and then those, like, whatever, in treatment. And it was like I noticed not only a shift in my outlook, going from like in between negative and positive to like just more positive and more hopeful, and I noticed like a shift in my handwriting and like the flow of it.
Easier to read.
It was easier to read, and I could tell I was like spending more time on it.
You could like look at your handwriting and tell how what your mental state was.
My mental state, exactly. Yeah. And then as I'm approaching the end of my second journal here, I have about like 24 pages left. I just feel like I've grown a lot just in the last month, 2 months. It's been a good experience to write. Gives me a moment to not be so caught up on who or whatever is going on, like, I don't know, in like the phone world type of deal, and like just give me a minute to like sit and like process what I'm going through, or like, yeah. So yeah, I like writing. I do enjoy it. And then like right now in life, I will say I'm proud of myself, and I deserve to be proud of myself. I deserve to get a moment. I don't know. Okay, let me just backtrack here for a second. So when I like first started to get clean, I was like looking in the mirror, and I'll be like looking in the mirror, like getting ready for the morning, and like towards the end of my active addiction, when I looked in that mirror, I didn't really recognize myself, know who I was, and like looking in the mirror, and I would look away. You
didn't want to look yourself in the eye.
I don't want to look in the mirror. I'm sad. I'm sad to see the people I was hurting, because it's very true that, when we are using, or we like to believe that we're only just affecting ourselves, but really we're affecting at least 8 people around us.
So what does it feel like when you look in the mirror today?
When I look in the mirror today, I feel like I know myself more. I'm happy. I can recognize myself. You know, that's kind of what I was getting at, as I slowly like started to recognize myself more and more each day. Something that I don't know if I've been able to do for a lot of time.
How much did you weigh at your lightest in the last couple of years?
Last year, around Christmas time, I was 116 pounds.
What about today?
Today, I am pushing 150.
Are you really?
Yeah.
I'm putting you on a scale tonight.
I don't know. Yeah,
I
sure.
don't know. If you're
Yeah,
150.
I don't know. I know though that like I've been told, but I think you even like that my face looks like full now, and like my skin tone, like my
Your skin looks good.
It looks good. My skin looks good, and like I don't have like these huge dark bags under my eyes, and
No.
my face isn't sunken in. And I look healthy. Yeah. I notice that when I look in the mirror, I'm like, I look healthy, you know. And I was on FaceTime with my grandma Sue a while ago, and she said something that made me smile. And I noticed my smile in the little camera, you know, like in the top corner of me. And it was like the smile like lit up the whole screen, even though it was just in that little like, and then I clicked on it, and then it was just me kind of, like, the smile's real. You know, like this is a real smile. Mm-hmm. I love my smile. Like I love me, you know. And that's another thing that I think is really important that I've come to know, is that self-love is so important. It's crucial, because if we can't love ourselves, how are we to love anybody else? You know, if we can't be comfortable with ourselves and at least be making an effort to get to know ourselves better and to just love ourselves for who we are, how are we gonna love anybody else?
Or let anyone else love you.
Or let anyone else love us. Yeah.
No.
That's a good point. Actually, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well said, Jackson.
Yeah. So, yeah. I coming up here was nice. Like on the drive, you know? Like okay, I'm starting to recognize like these places a little bit more. And I guess I got like to closer to the Dells, even in like Portage a little bit. And you know, a little bit of me, you know, had some, I don't know, no, it wasn't like apprehensive, I guess, but like, there was like a little bit of not fear, but just with the familiar places. It could have been like a little triggering if I thought about it in a different way. Triggering as in like, okay, now I'm in this position, I'm closer to this person, I can hit up this person because I know how to contact these people, and like these are all thoughts that, you know, kind of just I let pass, and I offer myself a moment to take a step back and look at where my life is at, all the positive things that I built up, like they're at stake, you know, and like every moment. And if I'm gonna always be like, or be wanting to seek out more, I'm gonna eventually lose what I already have, you know, and I'm gonna miss what I had. So it was kind of how I responded to that, you know. It's how I recognized it and moved on from it, rerouted my thinking. So,
well, you're doing great.
Yeah.
Keep up the good work.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's fair to say we should dedicate this podcast to your brother Blake.
Yep.
I think he's the reason you and I are both sitting here right now.
Absolutely.
The reason that I've looked inward. The reason you've dove inward.
Yes.
And we're lucky to have him.
Mm-hmm.
And I can feel him every day.
Yeah.
And you're lucky you get to dream about him.
Mm-hmm.
Mine are few and far between.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's pretty cool when it happens.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And sometimes it just kind of hits me. Like, okay, he's like gone. He's gone. And still, like 5 years later, it's like he's gone. I can't just call him. I can't just call him.
Yeah, you never know when it's gonna just creep up and hit you right in the face.
Yeah.
A lot of times for me, it's when I'm alone driving, and a certain song comes on.
It's some music.
Yeah, the Billy Currington song, "People Are Crazy." That was one of his faves.
I heard a song today. You, Blake, and I listened to it in the sand dunes. One night. Praise the Lord by A$AP Rocky.
Doesn't ring a
we
bell.
were in the truck and it's like, I came, I saw, I praised the Lord. You might not remember.
Listen to it on the way home.
Yeah, but I think you're gonna maybe be like, oh, I remember this. But Blake and I listen to a lot of good music together.
It's like
It's like text a message. I don't know the number.
okay. I'll maybe want to hear it.
Yeah. But like Blake has definitely had like a huge impact on like the music I listen to. 100%. I remember when Indicud came out. It was Indicud. It's an album by Kid Cudi. Absolutely wonderful album. Like it's my favorite one, I think, of his by far. We were at the cabin and he showed me the song. He's like, listen to the song. And it was King Wizard by Kid Cudi. And every time that song comes on, I think about Blake. There's just like, I don't know, there's so much music that makes me think of him, because him and I listen to a lot of good music together. And there's also songs that I know like that are in there, and I know that I remember listening to him with him. Like, and sometimes I'm fortunate enough for those songs to like pop in or whatever. I know there's some that still haven't yet, but yeah. Astro World was another album that came out. And Blake and I like listened to the album a lot. We listened to the album like together, and then Blake tried to put me on to a specific artist by the name of Mac Miller. He's like, listen to this. Oh shit. He's like, listen to this artist, and like I like kind of heard of him at this point, but I like Mac Miller. I heard of him, but Blake like was like, he's so good. It's like so good. And the whole time that he was like sharing this music with me, I was just like thinking about what I was gonna play next, and I didn't like it. And
You didn't like Mac Miller at first?
I didn't know, not at first. I didn't like him at first.
You guys had like your own taste. Like the only common denominator in that mix was Kid Cudi.
Yeah,
that I like.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's that's pretty normal for parents and kids. But
yeah.
I was going to ask you. You applied for a Tin Man coin last October?
September maybe. End of September.
So since then,
October.
The program's changed where it's a 3-coin program.
Okay.
Where if you attend the first session of the coin, then you're eligible, after you do a podcast to share your story, you're eligible for coin number 2.
Okay.
And then if you attend those sessions, you don't have to do another podcast, but you're invited to, and then you're eligible for coin number 3. So are you going to take advantage of that?
Yeah, I think I would like to.
Because your first coin, you fulfilled.
So
you did that?
What is all the second coin? What is that?
Well, so we go through a process where we, and we can do it right now. It's just like, we go through the list of different wellness partners we have.
Okay.
And then you just tell me like if you've experienced this type of therapy or treatment.
Do you have like a trauma therapy of some sort?
I'm going to go through the list.
Okay, yeah, I got you.
And then you tell me if you've experienced this therapy, treatment, or coaching before.
Oh, before.
And then you tell me if yes or no if you understand what it is. If you don't, then I'll explain what it is.
Okay.
And if you do, if you know what it is and you're like, nope, don't want that.
Yeah.
Or if you're like, yes, I would be interested in that.
Okay.
So as I go through the list, you just say yes or no and then we'll just go from there. What was your question that you asked while I was talking?
My question was, is there like any form of like a trauma therapy? Because Yeah, I've been through a lot of stuff, not just
Okay. Yes.
the past.
Yes.
Okay.
Lots of these deal with trauma, and there's different. So, for example,
Is there like an eye movement one?
EMDR.
Yes, EMDR.
Yes,
Okay.
we have one partner who just signed up yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
EMDR is so traditional clinical therapists are there's not enough of them. That's why we do
Yeah.
the scholarship. So a lot of times it takes 3 or 4 months to get in. We just have a brand new partner who has immediate openings, and they do EMDR. They also do animal assisted therapy and a lot of other things.
It's very cool.
So we're going to get there. The first one, EMDR.
Yeah.
You're interested in it.
Yes, I am interested.
That
in
is an eye movement technique. They have. You need someone trained in it to do it. It's. I've heard really good things about it.
I heard it can be intense.
What about psychotherapy in a clinical setting? You've done kind of a lot of that, haven't you?
What's that?
Talk therapy.
Talk therapy. Yes, I've done a lot of that.
Any psychotherapy
Still doing that
in a natural setting,
Actually,
or like an active setting, like hiking with the therapist, or fishing,
I think
or
that'd be pretty cool. Yeah.
Reiki therapy.
Reiki therapy. I've done that once or twice.
I did it on you, right? But have you done it with Krista? She's amazing.
I did it at that place, down the street, right down over there. Yes.
No, wait.
That was a while.
That was a group.
That was a group. That was a group.
Okay.
It was Reiki, right?
And it was.
Yeah.
So we have three or four Reiki therapists.
That'd be cool.
Krista Silsby is one of them. She's a master. A new one, the Awaken Center in Madison offers it, and then Charlie Muko is she does that, and hypnotherapy. Her hypnotherapy. Have you heard of the hypnotherapy?
No.
It's not like you think of hypnosis, like
right.
you're getting sleepy.
Yeah,
you won't want any
good.
cigarettes, and when I snap my fingers.
Yeah.
It's more like a deep guided meditation.
Okay.
And they can theme it different ways, and a lot of times they can deal with like inner child things, or walk you back to a previous moment in your life that you want to revisit, or that you might not want to revisit, but it'd be good for you too.
Yeah.
And then you revisit the situation with whoever else was involved in that situation, and then you can bring some forgiveness and understanding to that situation.
Yeah.
So yes, interested in hypnotherapy?
I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
no. Reiki, yes or no?
Yes.
Meditation coaching.
I don't know.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Breathwork coaching.
Again, I'm not sure on that one.
Okay, well, the first thing you said is, do you have anything to deal with past trauma? Holy balls, Jackson.
Yeah.
Some of the breathworks that I've participated in, not as a student. I've done that several times, and it's been amazing. But as a facilitator, I have, because I like to beat the drum when Christina leads the breathwork sessions, the trauma releases that people have during breathworks is it's just profound and really powerful.
Yeah.
So interested?
Yes.
Yoga classes.
Yes, I am interested in a yoga class. Is it like just regular yoga or hot yoga or?
Okay, yoga is like what Westerners think of yoga is the physical movement.
Yeah.
That's yoga asana.
Oh, okay.
That's the fourth limb of yoga. There's eight limbs of traditional yoga.
Okay.
So it's funny because when we say yoga, people think of the physical movement.
Yeah.
But yoga is so much deeper than that.
Yeah.
And the traditional Upanishads or the yogi texts, when they mention yoga asana, they only are referencing a seated position. So this whole like fancy asanas and body positions is very new to traditional yoga.
Okay.
But in this context, when we say yoga classes, it's talking about yoga asana, and not necessarily hot yoga. It could be any type of yoga. Yoga asana. Alternative counseling, that's kind of a wide range, but that's like instead of like your traditional go sit on a couch and listen and have somebody listen to your feelings. Alternative counseling can just be like, it can mean lots of different things. Interested? Nature therapy coaching. That's basically going into the wilderness, and the wilderness is the teacher.
Okay. I actually had a moment.
Are you interested in women's holistic health coaching?
What is that?
It's for women.
Oh, it's for women.
Men's holistic health coaching.
Yeah.
Holistic, and think of the word.
What do you mean by that? Like,
Think of the word like WH holistic,
yeah.
like the whole picture.
Yeah.
It's not just like this whole thing when we say mind and body, like we separate the mind from the body as if we are like this control center operating everything from the neck down is silly because we're just one thing. We're a philia.
Yeah.
We are just a one. Interested?
Yeah.
Spiritual guidance and integration.
I feel like I don't know. I'm kind of on my growing spiritually.
Yeah,
The way
you're a soulful
I'm practicing right now.
person for sure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna skip this one because I just think I should skip it.
Yeah.
Wellness retreat.
At what would a wellness retreat look like?
They're usually anywhere from like 1 to 7 days.
Okay.
Wellness retreat is like, it's usually a place you go that's like a very beautiful setting, and you experience different things. They can be themed so many different ways, but you're going to be with a group of people. You're going to be led in certain things like yoga, meditation, breath work. Some of them involve way deeper dives into spiritual journeys. Some of them can involve plant, fungi, amphibian medicine, things like that.
Yeah.
Any interest in a wellness retreat?
I would probably say I'm good on that, but thank you.
Animal therapy, dogs, horses, etc.
I like animals.
So
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
Physical fitness classes, coaching, or gym.
Yeah, sure. I'd do that. I mean, I need to start working out. I'm like pushing 150 now, so.
Sound healing.
Yeah, I actually would like the sound healing. Yeah.
Hypnotherapy. We talked about that.
Okay. Yep.
Massage therapy.
I need a massage.
Yeah, you do. Acupuncture.
Yeah, I've never done that. That'd be pretty cool.
The last one is float therapy.
Like you're floating in water. And someone's like turning
It's
you?
like extremely salty water, and you float. You are completely weightless, and you can.
Yeah.
It's like sensory deprivation. You can make it so it's no sound and no light,
No.
or you can turn on the light and listen to music. So it's
Okay. Can you turn off the light and listen to music?
yes.
That's cool.
The last one is contrast therapy, hot, cold, like sauna, cold plunge therapy.
Oh yeah, I would like that. I feel like that could almost be like a form of like breath work type of thing too. Obviously.
So for all of these listed, which ones jump out at you?
Well, I would say definitely the first one we talked about, the eye movement. Just because I know that
EMDR.
EMDR, yeah, because that I know that can be really helpful.
Yeah.
You know, especially if you have someone who like knows what they're doing. Obviously, like it can help process through some things. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
awesome. Do you foresee any hurdles to attending an EMDR session?
I'm not quite sure.
You'd want it to be remote, right? It would have to be like on a computer, right?
Yeah.
Or like you would come here.
Come here, I think. Yeah, I know I could.
Hypnotherapy. That our hypnotherapist does a lot of remote work.
Like
meaning
computer?
you can do it from your computer. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't mind
I'll
that.
have to find out if they can do EMDR remotely.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Okay. The last thing is, are you on any medications? at this
No,
time?
probably I'm not on any medications. Haven't been since October, maybe even September.
Other than nicotine
Well, yes, nicotine and caffeine,
and caffeine.
and yeah,
Okay.
but no,
So
maybe the Advil here and
a couple
there.
stimulants.
Yeah, stimulants. Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That pretty much does it
Yeah.
for that interview. So no,
Okay.
it's a surprise. In the next couple of days, you'll get your second Tin Man coin,
Okay.
and then you'll be able to redeem that.
All right.
You need to go to bed.
Yeah. You know what I was thinking? I would like to, if we have time in the morning, do a little short podcast again. Just to talk, because I like to do it. I like to sit here and talk
All right. If you
with you.
if you do yoga and a run with me in the morning
Mhm.
after breakfast,
Okay.
we'll maybe have time to do a podcast.
Okay. Yeah. I'll do that. Yeah. I also have to mow outside. So.
We can also do we can do a remote podcast too anytime. Like,
oh yeah, I would actually really like that too.
yeah.
Cool.
I mean, your face might not be here unless we do Zoom.
Yeah.
But we can do that anytime.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Finn.
No, yeah.
Time to sign off.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for coming in.
Yep. I love you.
I love you.
Glad to be here with you.
Good to be seen.